I'd like us to talk about, I suppose, the long-term relationship that we've had and probably the reasons for the success around it and why it makes sense for you guys to work with us.
Well, I mean, the crux of it, NetApp is we're a hardware, software, cloud, storage, data management company, but we're selling products effectively, and customer environments are much more complex than that, and they need partners such as Logicalis to really bring the kind of challenges which they've got, to bring those into focus and then pull in the various vendors that solve the problem for them. And obviously we've been part of that solution with Logicalis for a very long time now.
The benefit for us is that we've had a best of breed solution that helps us to deliver data management to our customers regardless of where they need to be, so from a hybrid world, and also with the layers then of data protection that come with that.
From NetApp, we can look at the customer, whether they're storing their data, trying to manage it, classify it. But that's a technology. And to do that, we have to have consultation around that with the customer. So NetApp has some consultative capability, but we don't have the remit outside of the technologies that we sell. So Logicalis' benefit to the customer is that you're looking at the bigger, wider ecosystem. You're able to, talk to the customer, actually probably get to the bottom of what they're trying to do, because often what they think they're trying to do might not be actually what they need to do.
I suppose I'd like to think that we're the trusted advisor in some of those instances where we can help the customer to take the very high level strategy that they have and then maybe drill down into business challenges that they have and then how they can get a solution to work and deliver on that problem.
Yeah, I kind of agree, because NetApp as a company, we don't have as much reach as you do from a kind of customer, interaction perspective. And your interaction is almost a daily interaction with your customers, whereas where you bring us in as you need us to help with the solutions and the focus on data management and the solutions that we bring. But the customer absolutely relies on Logicalis to bring it together for them, I suppose, effectively. I mean, over the years, Logicalis know NetApp's product set probably better than a lot of our partners do. And that's a value proposition in itself. But I think latterly, security has been a massive focus for our customers, to be honest. We've got solutions that will help customers build their last line of defense, if you like, for their data and protect them and, help them detect and recover and do all those things around ransomware attacks and that type of activity. But it takes a larger ecosystem of knowledge and understanding to know how to piece that together with the SIEMs and the SOCs and the other technologies that customers are looking to deploy. And that's really where I think, Logicalis' expertise, if we're looking just now, really is adding a lot of value to our customer conversations.
If we think about our messaging where we talk about connect, modernize and secure, so that brings in networking, it brings in security. And as you regularly say, the last line of defense is your data and your data storage. So having that additional security layer for us to deliver to customers means that we can get to market quickly and deliver a solution that gives them robust data recoverability features.
And actually the three areas you focus on, the security piece we just talked about, but connect in NetApp's world is on-premise and cloud. How do you bridge those environments? How do you do the same on-premise as you do in the cloud? How do you protect your data and secure it there? And then when you look at modernization, you need to be building these capabilities, this, ransomware protection into the storage platforms that you're buying and putting in your data centers. It should no longer be a bolt-on that's an afterthought. It should actually be part of the solution. And I think that's where we work really well together, bringing those capabilities to customers. Before you can actually work out how you secure your data, we're seeing a trend for customers looking to understand and control their data. There's two challenges to that. One is around sustainability. The more data you keep, the more infrastructure you need. The more infrastructure, the more power, cooling and emissions that you generate. But then also I think we see a lot of challenges around, okay, well, I want to control my data, but do I actually understand what it is we're holding? How do we store it? Do we need to encrypt it? Do we need to make sure it's in the right place at the right cost? Because that's an element as well. I think the other one, which is, and it's always harder to understand from our perspective, but also what customers are doing, is around about AI and where they're pushing with that type of technology requirement. So AI is obviously top of the agenda for a lot of customers, but we are seeing a big kind of push from not even just the large customers, but a lot of the smaller customers now trying to work out, how do we do ChatGPT? How do we do, those kind of things? And if you think about AI as an offering, it's actually just based on what can we do with our data. And that's where NetApp and Logicalis have been very strong in helping customers understand that. So
yeah, how clean is that data? Or how relevant?
Yeah.
the challenge still is there for customers to make a decision on what they delete. What we help customers do is understand what the cost is and what the cost implication of not doing anything is. And as they onboard AI, I think they'll have to make more of those decisions.
I think it was Western Digital did a survey of all of the data that's created. 68% of it, once it's first created, is never touched again. Now, if that 68% ends up into an AI model, you're processing junk effectively for no benefit. But you're paying for that junk. You're storing it, you're hosting it, you're backing it up, you're replicating it.
It's a continuous cleaning process or assessment of your environment, because otherwise it doesn't change. It becomes stale data again after a period of time. I think for some organizations, it's having the resources to do that on a continuous basis. And that can be challenging.
They can, but also the data people hold directly is affected directly by the regulations that their industry is kind of beholden to. So whether that's DORA or NIS2 or, there's various regulations in financial services and healthcare, etc. In fact, we've got a joint insurance company customer, a large one, who actually is using our technology to help meet DORA, I think it is, and help provide some of the cyber resilience around protecting that data. So there's a lot of value proposition that works between a combination of, how we go to customers and how we help customers solve those problems.
Yeah, it is important to align to a process, not to drive a process based on technology, because I think sometimes the risk is that organizations try to tick a box with a technology stack as opposed to align it to the process. And I think DORA is, again, one of the areas where you have to have a process, and then you need to ensure that what you sign up to within that process is delivered by the technology. What excites you and NetApp for the future partnership with Logicalis?
I think actually it kind of starts with the customer, in the sense of, if you look at the customer environments, we talked about some of the new technology areas which they're having to cope with and to get into. Those are just going to create much more complex challenges for the customer going forward. We're going to be working on these complex problems for the customer together, really helping them understand them and solve them. And problem solving is the exciting bit of any day's job, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And knowing that you've actually solved the challenge for the customer at the end of the day. So I think the most exciting thing from my perspective is the fact that we've still got probably more complex scenarios to try and solve for customers. But that's the point of a partnership, isn't it, really? It's to kind of go into that and work together to solve those.
One of the things that comes to mind immediately when we talk about that is AI, and how that just opens up all different meanings to lots of different organizations. I think the joint collaboration on what you see as the emerging technologies and how Logicalis has aligned to, I suppose, best practices for organization means that we try to stay ahead of where we need to be, although it changes on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But I think that we do it in collaboration as opposed to taking point solutions.
We have our view of where we see customers going. We have, you have access to our internal roadmap and where we're developing into. That gives you the ability to develop ahead of that in terms of where the customer challenges are likely to come. So I think that kind of collaboration is really important for customers, because that's almost, for a customer, it's a 3 times multiplier, not a 2 times multiplier, because it's bringing, where we're developing into from a product perspective with your knowledge of how that will go, and therefore what else will need to be considered around that.
I think it's also our job to challenge.
Absolutely. And push back.
And push back, at times in relation to what is seen as perception on your side as to what can drive things forward. But then from a customer perspective, to understand more so that we can actually, sometimes the benefit isn't what is perceived to be.
Features that are built into the NetApp products today that are providing cyber resilience, cyber security, ransomware protection have actually been in the product for 10 plus years, for example.
Yeah.
But it's just now people are going, actually, you know what, if we use this way and do that, and by the way, could you add this, because that would enhance that offering.
Even the compliance lock and that capability has been around forever.
15 plus years, probably, if I remember rightly. But now, that was originally for worm locking of documents and things like that.
Yeah, documentation systems.
The cyber resilience locking of backups and immutable, indelible copies and these types of things. So having had that in the product, but being able to use it differently, that's where customer feedback, and working in partnership has really helped.